make a somewhat traditional Indian chai. I think it's funny how in the West we actually think chai is like the chai syrup you put in a spice latte or something like this. But this is real chai. If you know, you know. Try the recipe out and let me know what you think. It's just delicious. If I didn't know how to make this myself, I would miss India so much. And I am actually leaving India. I have been living here for the last 2 years. I have been on and off here for the last 3 years. So it's not forever though. It is just until next time. I'm going home to New Zealand because it's been 2 years. It's really much needed. I'm really looking forward to going home. And so it's just a little bit of a time of reflection for me in my life. Hence why I decided to make this video. I was like, wow, really reflecting on what I've learned over the last couple of years here, how it's affected me as a person and helped me to grow. So I thought I would share these with you today. I came up with these 10 lessons, I guess, off the top of my head yesterday, just writing them down. I think India has taught me a lot more than just these 10 lessons, but these were just the main ones that came to my mind. And yeah, I don't want to make this video too long. Also, I just love being able to have a chai and a chat with you. I just love those two words together, a chai and a chat. How nice. Chai actually means tea, so if you didn't know that, you can make yourself any kind of tea, coffee, have some water, and let's just have a little chat. So number one, the first lesson that came to mind yesterday was that anything that is broken can be fixed. Literally, usually, you know, in the West we're really good at throwing things out when they get old. It's really difficult, I don't know, in New Zealand anyway, to actually get something fixed if it does break. But in India, there's literally a shop for everything. There's no department stores, or there is in the big cities, but in the smaller towns there's no like big store you go to buy everything. There is like the light man you go to if you need lights. There's the appliance man you go to if you need appliances. If you need your scooter cleaned, there's like just a scooter cleaning place, you know. It's very much like small business owned, which is really nice, like family owned businesses. And they are master at their crafts. So like my laptop broke last year. I just took it to the Apple MacBook guy who like just sits there all day fixing Apple products. If you need anything fixed, you can just go to the relative place and the guy will just fix it there, like on the spot. Or he will fix it, it could be a woman, it could be a woman too, but they'll just fix it like over the next couple of days pretty much. It really teaches you the value of things and how just because something breaks a little bit you shouldn't just throw it away and buy the next thing because it's easy and because you have the money to do so. You have to be very privileged to actually do that, and it makes you so much more conscious of the items around you. And yeah, I think it's actually just fascinating because it's just not something that I ever grew up doing. I mean, some things you can obviously get fixed, but yeah, even clothes here, I've learned to like take my clothes to the tailor because the tailor can literally just fix your stuff right there on the spot and give it back to you. It's just really great. As I said, I didn't grow up doing that kind of stuff. It's always a lot more difficult to get little things like that done where I grew up, so it's really nice. Number two, which is very important to me, I learned how to cook delicious Indian food. Wow. Indian food is just my favorite food in the world. Obviously I've lived in India for a couple of years, but I actually love it. I will have Indian food probably 1 or if not 2 meals out of my day. I have learned how to make just very yummy food out of very little as well, like from scratch. I can make a lot of meals just from the spices and the like dal and rice and atta. I've learned how to make chapati, and this is just something I had dreamed of doing, and I think it has honestly come from spending a lot of time here, especially in lockdown. Like we really had to cook a lot of our food ourselves, and so Rahul, my partner, taught me how to make tofu masala from scratch. I learned how to make lots of gravies as well as dry curries as well, which is like, you know, palak, which is spinach, and coconut is like anything with a coconut in a curry, like a dry curry, is like, oh, my favorite. Just all of the things. I feel really grateful that I can go back to New Zealand and save my money in cooking my own food from scratch and not having to spend a lot of money on Indian food in New Zealand because it is really expensive. I also feel like food is such a beautiful thing in India because there's so much love that goes into it, and there's so much intention that goes into consuming it as well. Often people are sitting on the ground, they are eating with their hands, really feeling the food. It's very mindful, you know. I don't know what I'm going to do when I go home to New Zealand and have to. I'll probably just continue to eat with my hands anyway, because I'm like very much accustomed to it now, but I'll probably get some funny looks. Let's see. Yeah, as I said, I feel really grateful that I can now take this knowledge back to New Zealand and share yummy food that's really close to my heart with my friends and family. The third thing I have learned living here is to give what you can to others regardless of how much you actually have yourself. It's very easy to come to India in full defense mode when people are asking you for money or asking you for change. It's really easy to say no because you kind of get in that defensive mode when you have people coming up to you so abruptly and right in your face. And the most beautiful thing that I see is people who don't have as much in a money sense and in a material sense still giving 10 rupees, which is 20 New Zealand cents, to someone who doesn't have anything. Like, it's very good karma. I feel like it's the culture here to give even though you don't really have anything to give, but like you do, you know, you've got the extra bit of change that's actually going to help someone get a meal. I thought it was just one of the most beautiful things that I ever saw, and it really reminded me that like I'm in India as a foreigner and I am so privileged. Like, yes, I've been in India 2 years, but I'm in my own little foreigner bubble of India with so many privileges. Like, even when I think I don't have money, I'm constantly reminded of how privileged I am, but I'm also reminded by seeing all that goes on around me how much I have to give. And you know, if you are generous in a sense or generous in any way, it's bound to come back to you in different ways, and it just feels nice to give, like not in a selfish way, but it's to give selflessly. Like, that is savor. It's helping people without expecting anything in return, and just in your day-to-day life. And there's been a few times where I have gone to, you know, family homes and they just offer you so much, and like me going in there first especially, it's like quite unbelievable sometimes, the houses you go to, with the very least amount of judgment as possible when I say that, but you know, when you come from a Western world into an Indian village, it's very, very different. And they treat you like God. There's a saying in India, treat the guests like God, and so they do treat you so, so well, and they want to feed you, and then they want to feed you more, and I'm like so full, like, it's okay, it's fine. They like offer me meat, and I'm like, no thank you, and I feel so, so bad. But they're just so kind to you. I don't know, it's really beautiful that they just give without expecting anything in return. I guess that's the main thing and main point I'm trying to get here. The fourth thing that I have learned from living in India is to appreciate how privileged I am. Like, I think I have it tough sometimes, but all my problems just come from my mind. Because in my direct reality, I have it so good. I was grown into privilege. Like, being from New Zealand, being from a Western country is just privilege in itself. I feel like it's truly hard to comprehend how good you have it and really understand how good you have it if you do not see directly the poverty and way people live in the world, in countries such as India. Like, it's just unbelievable. See the way people live here, and then see how happy they are sometimes, and then see how much they do with very little and how kind they are, just as I said before. It really just put it into perspective for me of how lucky I am to be from New Zealand and grow up there. Like, I have the choice to do things with my life that which I want to do. Like, I don't have cultural pressure. Like, what I do isn't out of the need to survive. I'm really struggling to find the words to describe what I mean, but it's just like so much privilege. Like, I can drink water out of the tap in my country. So many people here don't drink clean tap water. It's, you know, it's happening. Like, okay, you know it's happening, you see it on television, you see it on the internet, but it's literally happening. And imagine if that was your family. Like, I get really discouraged about it sometimes, and I'm like, what can I do? There's so much more that I can do. Even the choice to not use plastic is a privilege in itself, because some people can't afford to not use plastic. This is why when you are fortunate enough to have a choice, not out of necessity. You should always do the best you can when it comes to certain things such as the environment, in my opinion. Number 5. The 5th thing that I have learned from living in India, which was something again that I just never thought of properly, I have learned to not waste food. And it's not that I waste a lot of food, I eat a lot of leftovers. Rahul and I actually have this debate often because a lot of people don't actually eat leftovers here. Like, they make just enough. But I like to cook in bulk kind of and eat it over a couple of days. However, I digress. My whole point of this one is that I just feed the cows now with all of my leftovers, like all my scraps, all of my food I'm not eating, everything goes to the cows. Like, you can just literally walk onto the street in Goa and in Rishikesh, this is, because I'm only speaking from my experience in these places mainly, where there are in fact a lot of cows roaming the streets. You can just go and leave it for them. And cows are so intelligent. They know, you know, like at Shantaram we have a cow that comes every single day at the same time. She moves to say like, hello, I'm here, guys, I'm ready. And we take the big bowl of food down, like food scraps, leftovers from customers, and we feed them to her. They're just so intelligent. They're such intelligent creatures. Like, how do people eat them? I will never understand. But yeah, it's really nice, like, to know that if I'm not eating all my food, that it's not going to go to complete waste, and I can in fact feed another living being with that which would alternatively go to the rubbish, or, you know, go to the earth. But yeah, it's really nice. Number 6, how important devotion or daily rituals are to have in your life. I didn't grow up in a religious family. I didn't grow up with any spiritual practices going on around me. It was all very foreign to me until my early 20s, I guess. Just started getting into meditation and learning about Buddhism and spirit science on the internet. I don't know if you know who spirit science is. I used to watch it all the time. Like, that was pretty woo-woo, but I wasn't really into it then. However, I digress again. And like, the devotion you see around you in India is just so beautiful. It's not as though they are expecting anything great to come out of it, but it's like the small little magical things that you do in your day-to-day life to invoke the divine and to connect to the divine within you and of that which you believe in, which matters so much. So like, creating that time in the morning to actually connect, you know, to close your eyes, to do some sort of ritual. This is what I've learned from being in India. You see all the men at the temples doing the same thing every single day. There's mothers in their homes doing puja, which is like morning prayer and ritual, every single morning for an hour, every single morning. Like, that's so much commitment and so much devotion. It's so beautiful. I just said so a lot to them, but it really is. And you don't have to tell anyone as well. Like, they are just quietly going about their lives dedicated to God, or at least dedicating a little block out of their day to God, or to the universe, or to consciousness, whatever you want to call it. That is very, very important, in my opinion. So I'm really grateful to have learned that, and I do my daily ritual every single morning, and it really does just allow me to connect to myself and that which I believe in. Devotion, bhakti yoga is such a big part of my life. I don't share a lot of it, but I just feel so grateful to have found this. Number 7, just to not be in a hurry all the time. I keep saying I think because I don't want to sound like I'm like generalizing every single country in the West, but again, I'm only speaking from my experience. I grew up in the West, so we're very much go all the time. There's not much downtime. Everything is kind of on a schedule. You're pretty much always on time. I myself always love to be on time, and maybe a little bit early just to settle in, because I have to mentally prepare myself anyway to do things, because I get quite anxious about social situations. However, putting social situations to the side, generally everything in India, it's called like Indian time. Basically, just, you don't have to be in a hurry here. Everything happens when it's going to happen. And this one was a really big one for me to learn, because it's not as though they were expectations, but they were so ingrained in me. They said they were going to be here at this time, like, why aren't they here yet? And then they just come like, hey, sorry, I was late, like, hi, without a care in the world, just a little bit late. I feel like it just comes from like being a little bit more relaxed about everything in general and going with the flow. Yeah, it's nice reminder to just slow down a little bit, be a little bit more present and just enjoy life and the way it happens rather than being so rigid and perfectly on time for everything. Number 8 is to find the calm in the chaos. You know, in India there's like so much noise, there's cars, there's honking, there is a lot of people. I remember first coming here and just thinking like, oh my gosh, it's a lot, you know, very overwhelmed, but loved it. And then it wasn't until I went back to somewhere the second time, like I think it must have been Delhi in the city or it was Varanasi, and the first time I went there it was super busy. I think there was a festival on. The second time I went there I could just see so much stillness and calmness in the chaos. Everyone was just going about their daily lives. It was hectic, but I could just see everyone playing their roles and like just quietly going about their day-to-day lives. It's just like what we would do in New Zealand with 5 million people. Like I grew up in a very small country, times 100. There's a system to everything. You think something over there, something's happening that's crazy, like they're definitely doing that for a reason and it's all going to be fine in the end. Okay, my camera died, but I'm back. Number 9 is that India has helped me to become a better driver. As you know, the roads here can be quite crazy, well, seemingly crazy, but I think all the noise and all the honking and stuff I've completely gotten used to. Have just become so much more aware when I'm driving and so much more trusting of that which is going on around me, you know, like people are honking, but they're honking to make you aware that they're there and that they're about to pass, and so you know. And now I'm like annoyed if people don't honk when they go past me because I don't know that they're there, so I could like pull out a little bit and I wouldn't know that they're there, you know. Lots of people don't indicate, they just throw out their hands, but that's also nice. Again, I think I've just gotten used to it a little bit. When I go back to New Zealand and drive a car, I'm going to have to remember the road rules again because literally there is none here. People just pass willy-nilly whenever they want. People just go so fast. Yeah, so I think it's just made me more aware of myself and others on the road out of necessity, basically. Now I feel like I've just got it sorted. I can like literally put so many things on a tiny scooter and load it up, boxes of groceries. It's like totally fine, so I feel really grateful for that. It's really allowed me to have my independence being here and not rely on anyone else having to give me rides or... Yeah, and you can explore a lot more when you have a scooty as well, so it's nice. I feel like I'm finishing all of these with, yeah, it's nice when I have nothing left to say. The last and final lesson that came to mind yesterday was number 10, which is living in India has made me become a stronger person in a more independent sense. I think it's allowed me to find my voice when necessary. I am very much introverted, quiet person, so I've had to like ask people for help, learn to speak up when it's necessary and say no to people, to tell them no, like I know how much this is, I'm only going to give you this amount of money. But it's nice, I've learned how much things cost being here and I can confidently like tell them no, I'm not silly, like mate, I'm going to give you this much money because that's how much it is. Even in my relationships, I'm much more confident in expressing how I feel without trying to please people around me now, which is really nice. I'm very much a people pleaser. So yeah, that's a beautiful thing to have found within myself and not be scared to speak my truth. When I feel a little bit unsafe, which I think has happened maybe twice, a couple of times, I can confidently say like no. I think doing anything by yourself, all this kind of naturally comes anyway, but being in India, it kind of quantum leaps it to the next level because you've got like your safety to think of, and then you're in a foreign country and people are speaking a different language. You have to be kind of more masculine in a sense. I always say to people, I think I made a video long time ago about being a solo female traveler in India. Like, if you are strong, walk tall, and like look like you know what the fuck you're doing, and you look like you know where you're going, no one's really going to bother you, or not as much. This is nice for you to do. Okay, I think that's it. I hope I didn't ramble on too much. I'm going to have fun editing this. If you have experience being in India, I would love to know what you learned yourself from being in this beautiful country that I call my second home. I'm excited to go home to New Zealand, but then I'm really sad to leave here. I was crying the other day because it's just like I'm kind of mourning it. It's COVID-19 times. I don't know when I'm going to be coming back exactly, probably towards the end of the year, but still, it's a long time to be away from my home, away from home. I've very much grown accustomed to being here, so yeah, it's a lot. I'm excited, it's bittersweet, such is life. Yeah, but let me know down below what you have learned from being here, if you found these lessons insightful. Give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you're new here. My name is Kate, sending lots and lots of love your way on the Muse.